Hello, everyone. It is Cheryl Hickerson, the CEO of Females in Finance. I'm so excited that you're here. And I'm also kind of scared. How's that for honesty? Because I've actually worked with Rene Cermak, and she knows me very well, like intimately, emotionally well. And she gets into the ooey gooey parts of our brain and our hearts and brings out the very best of who we are. And so with that, what I want to do is I'm going to have Paula Corday of Appreciation Financial actually do a more formal introduction of Renee, because it's like I met Renee because of Paula and because of Krista Gonzalez, and because the list just goes on and it goes on and on. But I promise this is an hour well spent today. Ask questions. Do not hold back, because if you do, the only person who loses out is yourself. And I learned that from Renee. She is the queen of this. So Paula, go ahead and come off of mute, and let's give our guest a really, really warm welcome.
Well, welcome everybody. I'm so excited you guys get to share time with Renee today. Honestly, I could probably spend the hour introducing Renee and telling you how fabulous she is. Other than being a superwoman, Renee has been an amazing mentor to me and everybody that I know. She is a published author. I believe she'll be talking a little bit about her book today. And she has done coaching seminars on finances. She has done personal development. She's an author again. She's got a daughter named Penelope, and she's married to a wonderful man named Fred. Overall, my share for you guys is to take an opportunity to ask questions of a brilliant mind. She comes with such a wealth of knowledge and just invested in seeing people win and create the best version of themselves. And I think that when it comes to accountability partners, I would not pick anybody else other than Renee, because she has seen me through some of the toughest moments in my life and has held that belief for me to accomplish and achieve things that I never thought even possible. Like when you think of those wildest dreams where you're like, oh, that would be a dream come true. She has actually held that energy for me and coached me through achieving goals that have been unbelievable. So I think the world of Renee. She has invested in me and so many other people. My life is better because she's in it. And that's what I can share with you guys today. So I'm super excited to share the space with her and for us to bring some nuggets of wisdom to this group and just, ask away, like whatever you want to know and what she's talking about. I'm excited for you guys to be here. Thank you, Cheryl, for the opportunity. And here's Renee.
Absolutely. All right, Renee, you're up, and I am going to make you the host. So give me just 1 second here, friends, because I got a hand over and she can be talking while I'm doing that.
Well, hello, everybody. That was a big introduction. I just, hope I can live up to that in our short hour together. And I'm grateful for this opportunity as well. I was thinking about this earlier today. I'm like, I get to go on a Zoom call with a bunch of fabulous women that care about building wealth and women in finance. And it's not every day that I get to do that. So it's something I have very much been looking forward to, and I have lots of things that I want to talk about today. I'm kind of the type that, like, sometimes I'm a little bit of a fire hose because I just want to download as much as I can and create as much value as possible. And so I'm kind of just, and I want to also, go off of what you're interested in chatting about today. And so I am a woman on a mission when it comes to 3 topics. So my 3 big topics are self-esteem. I wrote a book called How to Be Your Biggest Fan. And that you've heard that we teach most what we need to learn. So just keep that in mind, that I wrote a whole book on having self-esteem and the value of high self-esteem and the value of being your biggest fan while you walk this earth. Because I know what it's like to not be your biggest fan while walking this earth. And I highly that one's not so good. This one really good, of being your biggest fan. So anyway, that's my first mission, is to support myself and anybody else who will listen on the value of having high self-esteem and how to get there. My second mission is wealth building. When I first started personal growth and this whole project of becoming an extraordinary woman, and this whole project of bringing the biggest, best version of me to the party, which started at 27 years old. I'm 51 today. I went to a 3-day personal growth seminar that changed my life. At that time, I was a cocktail waitress. In the last 24 years, I teach wealth building seminars. That's still very just surprising for me to even wrap my head around, that at some point I was a cocktail waitress making $30,000 a year. And then I'm in front of the room teaching wealth building courses because of the wealth that I've been able to create. And nothing else happened in the world other than I went to a personal growth seminar where I realized my beliefs about me and money, and my beliefs about me and many things, were not so productive, right? So I've spent the last 24 years changing my beliefs about me and many things, my beliefs in being able to be great in a marriage, my beliefs about being able to be an extraordinary parent, my beliefs about me and money. So all of that is what's been changing. And when that changes, everything else changes, called all of the results that I create. And so I have become a very empowered woman in my wealth building process. And I love to support other people, other women specifically, however, all people, all humans, in the whole world of wealth building, and how much self-esteem can be built, how much confidence, how much self-respect. And it's actually, a really fun world. And most people never get introduced to the world of wealth building, or never get invited to the world of wealth building to get all the benefits that come from it. And then my third mission is to support people in seeing the value of tithing money, which I think maybe from listening sounds strange, maybe like a strange topic, but it's very important to me. And tithing money, meaning giving 10% of your income to worthy causes, is what I'm specifically speaking of. And it's, in my opinion, one of the best things that you can do for self-esteem, and for sure one of the best things that you can do for wealth building. And so it's like tithing is in the middle, and it feeds great self-esteem and it feeds great wealth building. So it's kind of my trifecta, if you will, because when you tithe money, usually nobody knows about it. It's a secret with the universe, or a secret with Gus, who I learned from Paula Corday. So Gus is God, universe, or spirit, all wrapped up. So whatever term you love most. And so, not to offend anybody, we're just going to use the term Gus. Now, Paula, what was I saying? I just lost track of myself.
Real quick too, I want to say to you, Renee, that in case anybody comes into the waiting room, you'll have to check. Okay, thanks. You're the best.
I've let
Talking
two
about
people
tithing
in so far, Cheryl.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Gus,
secret tithing, going to Gus.
Thank you so much. So when you tithe money, it's like a secret with Gus. Nobody knows about it. And yet that secret, and the more secretly great things that you can do that nobody knows about, the higher your self-esteem goes. Because when you do secretly great things, it like puts this pep in your step. And there's a way that you look at yourself differently in the mirror when nobody knows about all of your secret greatness and how your actions are influencing the world and making it a better place. And when you're part of the solution and part of things being better. Okay, so that's how self-esteem, or that's how tithing can support your self-esteem, doing secretly great things, but tithing also supporting your wealth building, because what you put out, right, especially in the form of giver's gain, what you put out in the form of tithing comes back tenfold. right? So it confuses me why the world is not tithing consistently 10%, because it really opens up whole new worlds. Like tithing is a really great way to know yourself, and all the, possibly the resistance of, well, I don't want to give away that money. Well, that's my money. Well, like I used to hoard my money until I understood the value of tithing, and tithing breaks the addiction to money. I don't know if any of you have an addiction or have had one at some point in your life, like I have had, but it helps to break the addiction, and also helps your money to get out in the flow of things. And so there's so many great things that open up in the world of tithing. And the bare minimum part is what comes back to you. But of course, it never comes back from the same source, right? However, it comes back in the form of getting a phone call that says, hey, I have a new listing for you in real estate, or hey, will you be or a client that, you've been waiting for 6 months, all of a sudden is ready to go today, because of what you're putting out energetically, subjectively, like it's all happening. So it will come back to you, but never from the same source or in the same form. And so I encourage you, to consider your relationship with tithing, and consider you to possibly change your relationship with tithing. And I would double dog dare you to check it out and prove to me that it does not work. Because as soon as you start it, you will see it coming in many forms, and then you will never again let a month or a year go by. Like I'm like very like dotting my I's, crossing my T's, making sure I get to my 10% tithing amount in the form of money. And then I do lots of bonuses in the form of time and talent, right? Because you can tithe in the form of treasure, of money, of time, or of talent, right? So I donate lots of time in the form of talent. And then you can, figure out how much you're worth per hour and multiply that by the 4 hours that you were just of service. And that can be part of your tithing. But you also don't have to start with 10%. You can start with 1%. You can start with 3%. You can start anywhere you want and see about moving on up. But it really does separate you from the masses and puts you in a world of making a difference, a world of being part of, a world of contribution, versus a world of outward focus versus, inward focus. And it's only about me, and let me just take care of me. Because the more, the more service you render, right, the more comes back in the form of money, right? I like to think about the two scales, the two scales of justice that are always in balance. And so one scale is marked service and the other scale is marked reward. And so, and I'm trying to think, this is not original for me. I'm trying to think where I picked this up from, and I'm unable to remember at the moment. However, if I do, I'll let you know, because I like to tell you who told me about extraordinary things. And so one scale is marked service, the other scale is marked reward, and whatever you put in the scale marked service is going to be balanced out in the scale marked reward. So if you don't like your current rewards in the form of what's coming back in money, in the form of what's coming back in your relationships, right? If that's not so, if that's a little more empty, right, or not as full as you'd like it to be, then you automatically got to go look at your service, because the more service, the more you can be of service, the more value that you create, the more causal you are, the more influential you are, the more that scale marked reward is going to be, right? So I'm always filling up my scale marked service, like I'm usually like, I mean, there's a lot of places I say yes, but when it comes to, like even doing this call today, it's an automatic yes, I want to go do that, right? If I can go be of service to people and they can hear something different today from me, then that's where I love to spend my time. And so,
and real quick, Renee, I want to say something about that, because when I met Renee, we didn't have any give back at Females in Finance at the time, other than into the community. I was putting 100% of what we were getting back and into the community so that we could grow more women. We now take 10, and this is where I got this from when I went to personal development classes with Paul and others, and they were there to teach me. We now take 10% of every single thing that comes in through dues and sponsorship fees and put them into the Females of Finance Foundation. And then that way people can come in. And I have to tell you anonymously, friends, we have women who reach out and say, I need $250 to get the rest of my tuition in for my CFP. And I'm embarrassingly asking you if you know someone who can. I'm like, we got you. And they don't have to write an essay. I see these things. I'm like, I'm not writing an essay. I trust you as a professional that's what you're using that space for. And to Renee's point, every time that we've helped people, every single time, every single time it has come back tenfold in some other way that person then went and told somebody, do you know that they came and did this for me? She didn't even know me. And that is always the first one. A lot of women, I have to tell you, do say to me, why would you do this? Why would you do this? And I said, why wouldn't I do this? And I think it's been really interesting as we give out, and it's kind of like a micro grant setup. We're not a nonprofit. People come to us, we set the money aside in an abeyance account and as they need it. And then we're going to be doing a more formal Giving Tuesday this year in November to actually announce where some of those monies went with their permission. Some of them, they'll just be like, they went out, and you just have to trust that it went out to those women too. But I think it makes us feel better about the money that we spend. And back to Renee's point about why we're here about self-esteem, it actually improved myself. Like I felt like I was even doing more, even though it was the same, if that makes sense. Like it's the same, it just how I segmented it, it felt like more. So, but that's where I got that from, was through the personal development stuff that we've done with Renee and Paula and Krista Gonzalez and so many others. Awesome. Sorry, I just wanted to say that.
All good. Interrupt me anytime you would like.
So self-esteem.
Self-esteem. Yeah, I want to speak a little bit about that, and then I want to go into some wealth building stuff. And so I like to think, so self-esteem, what I mean is about liking yourself, having respect for yourself, having pride for yourself. So I'm not necessarily talking about self-confidence, because you can be really self-confident and be great at sales and make $1 bazillion and still not like yourself. Right. So I'm talking about walking this earth, liking yourself. And I want you, I'm kind of on a mission for people to start thinking about their self-esteem and liking themselves more than anything and before anything. Like it's the number one priority that runs you and your day and your actions and your decisions and your behaviors. Because how much you like yourself influences everything else. And I mean everything else. And high on that list would be your income and your investments. And so we're going to move into how that affects everything about money. But I want to talk a little broadly about self-esteem and liking yourself.
And real quick, can I ask a question on that to everybody here? How many of you think you have clients that don't like themselves and therefore they're not making their best money? They're not doing their best. Okay. And we see it, right? When they talk about who they are and what they're doing. And I think that's really key to what Renee just said, that a lot of times that the behavior, and I think this is where a lot of the guys, sorry, but I think the guys kind of miss it sometimes because they're so transactional and they're not the relational part of it. And I keep thinking if we could give the gift of self-esteem to our female clients out there and ourselves, of course, I'm putting my own oxygen mask on first, everybody. That is something I have to learn, because I used to give it to all of you and then I was sucking wind because I got nothing left. And now I put it on me now, and then I can help more people that way. That's the reason why I want you guys to understand Renee, what she's talking about, because I think if we feel it and we can teach it to clients, that's where we make transformational money changes in the hands of women who have the least amount of the wealth that's out there, but the most, the propensity to have the most because of the transition of the money that goes on. Sorry, Renee, I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to be really real. Renee saw me at some very dark moments. I'll share that with you honestly. And she didn't let me get away from it. And then Paula didn't let me get away from it. Like, no, we're going to come back and deal with that, just to learn how to like myself. Because everybody always tells me like they like me. Did I like myself? not so much. And I'm a lot better at it. I'm not perfect at it, but I do think that that's where we're able to make some really unbelievable, like transformational. I do not use that word very often. Transformational changes in the wealth industry today, the insurance industry today, anything that you're working in today. If we can just learn how to like ourselves and then teach our clients, hey, you can do this too. So I'm sorry, but I had to say that because that's my own testimony.
If that was if you were working with clients in wealth building and your number one focus was them improving your self-esteem and you never talked 1 second about money making, about investing, it would still be the number one most important thing that you could do to cause a different result with them. Because I like to talk about this self-esteem meter that goes from 0 to 100. And that we all have our own meter, and where we park ourselves and live on our self-esteem meter directs all of our results, from our money to our relationships to our health to how much we speak to the difference that we make in the world. And if we're able to move up on that self-esteem meter, our income, and not just our income, our mindset on net worth, our mindset on building wealth, our mindset on investing, all of that increases as we go up the self-esteem meter automatically. And so if you only focused on people and their self-esteem, you would still be able to affect every area of their life in a major way. Because when people, it's really easy to be, I'm not talking about being happy in the moment and immediate gratification. That, quite frankly, is very easy and where the masses live. So I'm talking about, like, if you want to be happy in the moment, you eat a burger and you take a nap, right? If you want to have high self-esteem and like yourself, you eat a salad and you go to the gym. And that's the same in the world of wealth building, right? If you want to be happy in the moment, you go buy a new dress today and feel happy today, immediate gratification, right? If you want to build wealth, then there's a lot of other things in place, and it's easy, that is not easy to do, right? To not buy the dress and instead do X, Y, and Z, and not just today, on a regular basis, because self-esteem gets created every day by the 10,000 actions or inactions that we do in all categories, day by day by day. And wealth building gets created day by day by the 10,000 financial actions and behaviors that you exhibit on a daily basis. Are you with me on this? It's it's like the same tiny things that build your self-esteem. Like, I used to think self-esteem was built by big moments. Like, I got an award, I was in the play, I was like the big thing. And it's not the big things. It's the tiny things, the everyday, the daily, the things that even happen 7 to 13 times a day that we are unaware of. So it's the tiny stuff, the stuff that's so easy to discount, that's so easy to go, oh, it doesn't matter, that's not going to affect anything. It was only one time, I was only 5 minutes late. It was only, however, now translate that into the world of wealth building on a regular basis, right? If you go spend, the whatever it is per day, $100 per day versus this every single day, at the end of the month, that adds up. At the end of the year, that adds up. At the end of 3 years, right? So wealth building, one of the things, so I love the small stuff, and I love the small stuff and the daily stuff because you have full control over it. So you can change your self-esteem world starting today. You can change your wealth building world starting today just by the decisions that you make. Because see, your self-esteem moment by moment by moment, day by day by day, adds up to months, adds up to years, and then adds up to pretty big, significant results. Like you can look and say, all these 10,000 small things add up to I'm in great physical health or I'm overweight. Or these 10,000 small things add up to my marriage is great, or I'm currently heading for a divorce, or everything's stagnant, stale, and boring right in the middle, right? The same 10,000 opportunities create very different results depending on what you do with them. However, day by day by day, after years, significant results are right in front of your face. Like one of those that I see right in front of my face on a daily basis is these lovelies, right? I'm looking in the mirror, you know, at 51 years old, and there's times that I look in the mirror, I'm like, how did this happen? And then
Every day, every
this
day.
voice in my head that goes, seriously, lady, how did this happen? I'll tell you how it happened. Day after day after day of either you baking in the sun or you unwilling to wash your face, or let's talk about all those cigarettes you smoked, or let's talk. So it wasn't even one source. It was 20 sources day after day after day that lead that this is now the end result, right? And so we can look at the end result in a bazillion different areas, but in the world of wealth building, let me give you a great example that, you know, your credit score. I mean, I love, there's two numbers that I love the most. One is your net worth, like how much you are actually worth, and your credit score, because they are two black and white numbers that give a very clear indication to who you are and what you are about when it comes to financial actions and behaviors. Because if you think of a credit score, it is a minimum of 7 years. However, it's way more than that because your history of credit is involved in your credit score. And so you're talking about 20 plus years of actions and behaviors that come together in one black and white number, and it gives everybody a very clear indication of how good of a bet you are. I mean, it is so fabulous. One number. If I can look at somebody's credit score and tell you a lot about them just by that one number, because it's thousands of actions and behaviors that come together in one black and white number. And so with a credit score in the 500s, that means 1 in 8 people are going to default. So creditors are looking, how good of a bet are you? 1 in 8 are going to default with a credit score between 500 and 600. With a credit score of above 800, 1 in 1,292 people will default. And so that is your reputation, right? Financially, people are looking at whether to bet on you or not. But I'm going to suggest in the whole world of self-esteem, there's also a reputation, invisible, not black and white, reputation number, meaning that anyone, let me give me as an example. If I went to every single person I know and said, give me a number between 1 and 100 of how I've showed up since the beginning of our relationship, they could give me an accurate number within 3 seconds. And this relationship might have started yesterday, and this relationship might have started 40 years ago. And each of them are in 3 seconds going to sum up their experience of me with them from their viewpoint of either one experience or 100 experience, and come up with one number that will accurately represent their view of my reputation with them. And it'll be accurate. Like I'm not even, my 10-year-old daughter will have a number that fast. My husband has a number that fast. Anyone I've ever worked with has a number that fast. And it all comes together because your people are betting on you do. They're betting on whether you're going to be flaky or whether you're going to make the deadline, whether you're going to be on time or whether you're going to be 5 minutes late with an excuse, as always. They're betting. The question is, what are they betting? And they're betting accurately based on what you have shown them you are about, in the form of your action and behaviors, in the form of you keeping your agreements, doing what you say that you're going to do, where you are on what I call the commitment ladder, right? The commitment ladder at the bottom is like, I'm going to try, right? And then it moves up to, I really want to. And then it moves up to, I'm committed until or unless. And then it moves up to, I'm doing the best I can. And then it moves up to top rung called doing whatever it takes, right? So,
and I want to say something really quick on this,
sure.
Because I was at the Jolt conference in Las Vegas, all about marketing. Robert Sophia from Snappy Kraken got up on stage and he was interviewing some people from Google and Adobe and a few others. And one of the things he said made me think of the time that I spent working with Renee and the team and Paula's event that she held in Houston. And Daryl, my husband and I, we both went and we had our own work to do. He had his stuff, I got mine. Okay. And I was much more difficult than Daryl, much more difficult. There's laughing because it's true. And I'll own it. But here's what he said. And I was sitting in an audience. I know exactly where I was when he said it. And I went, uh-oh. He said, if at any time you can go through an emotionally charged event situation with your client, with them, it tethers you to them, and the loyalty is astronomical because you went through something together. And so, I mean, I'm going to pick on Paula for a second. Paula knew that my going to personal development, I love professional development. Hell, see, I do. I love it. You know, I'm going to learn a new skill. I'm going to personal development, go rolling through the brain, you know, the little spaces in my gray matter. Don't like that. I got things tucked in there and they're just nice and tight and I like it there. And now we're trying to pull it out and going, yeah, that's not serving you well. And I'm like, no. I've had that in there since I was 12. Let's just leave that one alone. And you keep finding things. And what happens is going through a very emotional personal development class. So when Renee asked what her number was to me, she showed up the exact same every single time. She's 100% Renee. I mean, whether I saw her in Houston, whether I saw her in Scottsdale, she is exact who she is right now. And she's not surprised by that number. Nobody is if they know her. And so if that's the case, and I hear Robert Sophia say, hey, if you can have emotionally charged marketing, you can have emotionally charged events where you're sitting in there learning with your clients so that you're not the educator, you're being educated with them. Because you have something to go back to. And so forever, I will have Paula to thank, who, when I wanted to run away, she's like, you just stand here with me. We're just going to stand here together. And I'm like, no, I don't want to talk about. And then guess what? It helped me get through a really tough conversation for me personally. And it got me where I needed to be, which was to finish. I needed to get through that. And I needed somebody like her. And now she's stuck with me for life. So think about that with your clients. I mean, that may not be good news for Paula. I'm just saying, but think about that with your clients. If you had a Renee, you had an opportunity to do something with them. The number one thing that we get asked at Females in Finance, mindset. I need confidence training. I need self-esteem training. I need to know how to say yes. I don't know why I keep doing this. It is the number one year after year after year. 3.5 years now I've been doing this. And so I'm really not excited to bring you I'd love to talk to you about estate planning and things, but I do believe what Renee's talking about is honestly to get past that so that we can get to the bigger things. And if you can do it with your clients, and that was from Robert Sophia. When he heard that, it's immediately what I thought of was the work that I did with Paula and Renee and even Daryl. Sorry, Renee.
No, that's awesome. That is great. And so that reputation score, know that it's in your hands, based on how you show up and what you put out. They're picking up what you're laying down. And that's also something that you can start improving and changing starting today through the small stuff. But I like to think about me and, so when I'm talking about self-esteem, that I say that it's my number one priority. And I'm selfish about my self-esteem so that I can bring the biggest, best version of me to the party, because when I'm willing to do that, then everybody else wins. However, if I put everyone else first, it looks like giving. Like if I put my child first and my husband first, like that's kind of normal. People say things like that all the time. However, that is not in my world. In my world, my self-esteem is first, and then my child, and then my husband, because if I put them first, then there's no way I'm bringing the biggest, best version of me to the party. And then in the long run, they end up losing the most because they get an average mom and an average wife. And when I put me first, then they get the best of me and ultimately they win. And so I like to think about me and self-esteem hand in hand, running down the beach like a Viagra commercial. You see the visual, it's like me and self-esteem, and we are together and we are bonded. And people are like, Renee, what about your husband? And I'm like, listen, he is the lucky guy that gets to be with me and my self-esteem a couple of hours a day. However, me and my self-esteem are together 24 hours a day. So that's why it has to be the priority. So in one hand is me and my self-esteem. In the other hand is me and my money. Okay. And all three of us are running down the beach hand in hand. Okay. And again, when that's my priority, then the world wins. And so I mostly, in our limited time left, I want to talk to you like I do that when I do wealth building seminars. I talk about the 20 windows of wealth, and there's investing and there's the credit score, and there's like all these pieces and parts, and people want to dive into like what they term like the exciting ones. And I'm like, no, we have to spend at least there's 20 windows of wealth, and we spend the majority of the seminar on 2. And one of the windows is called self-esteem. And I've kind of explained why we spend time on that. The other window that we spend the most amount of time on in the class is called financial beliefs. Because until you address your financial beliefs, the other 18 windows don't matter. But most people dive into the other 18 windows first and then are unaware or confused why they're not successful because they never addressed the financial belief window. So we all have beliefs about us and money, and they are running the show. And we all have a relationship with money that many of us do not invest time and money in. So think about, you invest time and money with your relationship with your honey, right? You spend time, you spend money on a daily basis, making sure that it stays great. You invest time and money and TLC in your relationship with your kids. You invest time and money and TLC in your relationship with your pets. You invest time and money and TLC in relationship with your cars. Like some of you, like you talk to your cars, you stroke your cars, like you are in a full-on relationship and you spend time and money and in that relationship. And you have a relationship with self-esteem. And I'm going to suggest that starting to spend time and money and investing time and money in your relationship with your self-esteem is important. You also have a relationship with money, and spending time and money and TLC in your relationship with your money is going to be very important. I believe that money chooses where to live. And I give money a very good home. I give money a reason to live with me, because it's a pleasant experience. I have respect for money. I give it a good home to live in, meaning a way to be organized. I get my money out playing with other people's money in collaboration. So my money has more fun than other people's money. I get my money in relationship with other people's money such that my money comes home to me with money babies. Okay. I'm committed to getting my money impregnated out there such that my money bring home more goods. And I'm in a full-on relationship with my money. I treat it well. I have respect for it. And so I want you to consider money being a person with a personality, able to converse with you. If money were a real person, and able to sit down in a chair in front of you and have a real conversation with you, I want you to consider what money might have to say. And would it be a pleasant conversation? Like, would money be like, you're so great, I appreciate you, you do X, Y, and Z so well, I love our relationship? Or would money be like, listen, we have some things to talk about because I am upset. I'm upset about the way you disrespect me. I'm upset about the way you throw me around. I'm upset about the unorganized home that you give me. I'm like, if money were a real person, what would it have to say to you? And I encourage you that after this call today, that you really do this and that you write it out in a dialogue journal kind of way. Like you're have speaking parts and you ask money interesting questions and money is able to respond, because I assure you, whatever is in these conversations is affecting your current relationship with money. And so I'm going to ask you a couple questions just to trigger you. So if money
She
were
likes this. Hold on.
person, what?
I said she likes doing this, so hold on.
To trigger you?
Yeah.
Well, I do want to be of service and create value. And it's very much my intention that your brains continue to percolate long after our Zoom call ends. And so if money were a person, would it date you? Would money want to date you based on how you show up in your relationship with money? Meaning it could be keeping your agreements. It could be, are you any fun with money, or is it all, stern business? Like, would money want to date you? And then the next question is, if money were a person, would money be willing to hire you? And if money were a smart employer person, would it want to hire you based on your behaviors and actions, not just with money, however, with all things, with appointments, with being on time, with keeping your agreements? Okay. The third question is, does money respect you? And it's really a yes or a no. And hesitation means no.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, because some of you are like, well, and like, don't go into the justification world. Just answer, does money respect you? Yes or no? Right. And if the answer is no, that is definitely running some things. And we definitely, and again, all of the good news is that whatever the answers are to these questions, that moving forward from today, it is all in your hands to change, because it's through the tiny stuff. Think about how often you spend money in one single day. Just by changing your perspective on your spending of money, or your saving of money, or your handling of money. Like, meaning my money is always very like facing the right way and all organized, versus some of you have wads of money and things like that's a behavior that could just start changing today. From now on, how I handle my money, how my money is kept, is important. Okay, number 4 is, are you respectful or disrespectful to your money? And again, it's one or the other, and it's not sometimes this, sometimes that, because some of you like to play the game of sitting on the fence. Well, it's like 50% of the time I respect my money and 50% of the time I no, stop sitting on the fence and pick one, because you live somewhere predominantly. So predominantly you are either respectful or disrespectful. Number 5 is, are you abusive or caring to your money? And again, you just pick one, because predominantly you're abusive or predominantly you are caring of your money. Number 6 is, does money like you? Yes or no? And by the way, the first 3 questions were yes or no too. If money were a person, would it date you? Yes or no? If money were a person, would it hire you? Yes or no? Number 3, does money respect you? Yes or no? Number 4, are you respectful or disrespectful to money? Pick one. Number 5, are you abusive or caring to money? Pick one. Number 6, does money like you? Yes or no? Number 7, does money trust you? Yes or no? Number 7 is, or excuse me, that was number 7. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Number 8 is, if I asked your money, like if I were to have a conversation with your money and asked your money how you treat it, what would your money tell me? Like the truth. What would your money tell me of how you treat it? Number 9 is, are you proud or ashamed of your relationship with money currently? Proud or ashamed? And what would money say is money, like you might be proud, however, is money proud or ashamed? Because I'm really more interested in how money feels than how you feel. Number 10 is, do you avoid your relationship with money or do you spend time with it? You know, people that spend 8 hours a month on wealth building, that's 2 hours a week. People that spend 8 hours a month on wealth building have twice as much money in wealth building as people that do not. So do you avoid your relationship with money or spend time with it? Number 11 is, does your money get to collaborate with other people's money? Yes or no? Is your money like lonely, bored? You know, some of you, your money is hidden, you know, in deep, dark, gloomy environments. You know, if you lived where your money currently lives, would you enjoy that home? And how often does your money, you know, like if it's like stuck in a dark safe that never gets to see the light of day, right? If that were you stuck in a safe that never gets to see the light of day, or a safe deposit box or something like that versus getting out to play. Okay. Okay. Oh, that's my next one. Number 12, is your money lonely, locked up in the dark, or has freedom? Number 13 is, did you teach your money a good work ethic or is it lazy? Okay, so lazy is it's not out there working for you, right? A good work ethic is your money is out there invested and working for you. Number 14 is, does money think you are loose or loyal? Like, are you like, or like, do you, in the way that you interact with money, do you think money is, your relationship with money is loose or loyal? Is that clear?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Number 15, are you and money in partnership or estranged? Again, one or the other. And then 16, does your money have a stable home? Or is it kind of feast or famine? And then last one is, does your money have a comfortable, organized place to live, or is it chaos? And in my wealth building class, I give you a blank piece of paper with just a square. And I ask you to draw your relationship with money, like, or draw your view of money in a physical form. And it's amazing what people will come up with, right? And sometimes they'll draw money with chains, you know, and it's their perspective and their relationship with money. You know, sometimes it's dark and gloomy and doomy and there's chains. And then sometimes it's like a, you know, beautiful free for all world. And sometimes it's, and so I want you to think about your current relationship with money. And if you were to draw money in a physical form, like I recommend you actually doing that, like, because sometimes things will show up on the paper that you don't even know are in here in your relationship and how you feel about money. And then the idea is to draw a new picture of your new relationship with money, where you're hand in hand running down the beach, or you're in partnership, or your money is out there collaborating with other people's money, or you're drawing the new home for your money and how organized and comfortable that it is. But I want you to journal on, what is your new relationship with money going to look like? And I want you to come up with at least 5 things minimum of what you are willing to do, to 5 things that you will do to improve your relationship with money. Are you guys willing to do that? Okay. So again, my
And there's a
recommendation.
question in the box for you real quick. And it says from certified financial planner, Peggy Haslick. She got her CFP. And so I'm going to say it for a full year like
Oh
this.
yeah.
That's right.
Congratulations.
So she said, do you find these questions change over time or from day to day? I think they would for me. She goes, hey, I'm a Gemini.
Talk and print. Everything's a habit. All of our results are run by the habits, but the habits got created by the day by day by day.
Behavior. Yep.
And everything that you do, you have a predominant way of doing it. And so, again, there could be exceptions. However, if you are loose or loyal with your money, that is going to be everywhere. That's not going to be one day and not the next. And so as a general statement, I will say that what you do here is what you do there is what you do everywhere. And so if it's applicable somewhere on all days. But I believe that depending on what you just answered, that you can absolutely change any of these answers in a very short amount of time. And that's the value of that. It is the tiny stuff and it is the everyday, because we can start making changes today. And the key is consistency, right? You can see if you save no money whatsoever, and now you decide I'm going to start saving 10%, right? That is just a small thing, right? It's one of the easiest wealth building rules. Pay yourself 10% first. How many people are actually doing it? Not too many. However, you start with today, right? And then you get week number 1 under your belt of moving 10% of your income into a wealth building account. At the end of the month, you have a result. At the end of 3 months, you have a bigger result. At the end of the year, you have a bigger result. At the end of 2 years, right? And so the more time and the more consistent, the more power there is, because the bigger the result and the more of an I am statement that's behind it. Because the first 30 days you do it, you're like, yep, I'm saving money. However, after 5 years of 10%, this is what I do. This is part of who I am, and not doing it is not an option. However, 5 years, you know what I mean? So the longer, like my husband just celebrated 40 years of sobriety. Like you can imagine when he got his 30-day chip, right? Proud moment, 30-day chip. You can imagine when he celebrated year number 1, big moment. However, can you imagine how much more solid and powerful all of it is now in celebrating 40 years? So same in wealth building, the muscles that you build, the muscles that you practice on a daily basis, they get more powerful the more years that they do them, and your money out there working for you. You guys know the game. You guys know how it jumps exponentially. The more money you have, more time you have your money out there working for you.
Real quick, can I, for anybody who's willing to raise their hand, and you don't have to, were any of the questions that Renee just posed, do you feel exposed? Because I do. Like, I do. I'm going to raise my hand. I do. Like, it makes me go, and I've done this with her. I've listened to her before. So I'm like, man, that's a good reminder. And that's the point. We have to constantly be exercising these muscles, because we get lazy. We go back and no, this is comfortable. And just a little bit, I can fudge here. And it's what our clients do. It's what their clients do, and we're doing the same. We do. I mean, it takes a regimented way of doing this, but I love all the questions that Renee posed. And that's why I put them. You guys can click the little 3 dots in the chat and hit save chat, and it'll give you the list of the questions that I typed in there for you, everyone. Yeah, I was your copious note taker today. You're welcome.
Wonderful.
You're welcome. Yeah. So, as we're getting to the wrap up, because we got about 6 minutes left, I want to be on time. A couple of people had drop off because they had client meetings. Any questions you want to come off of mute and just ask Renee while she's here? Anything that's like, I want to know this. And if you don't, that's okay. But I want to give you the opportunity, because this is her area of expertise and she's really good at it. Hi, Deanna.
Question. Hey. I've been really trying to change my practice to talk about the relationship with money more in depth. But do you find, Renee, that you get a lot of pushback? People are like, oh, yeah, no, let's just focus on my account. Like they don't want to delve into this, or they don't want to really just like Cheryl's like, don't touch that. That's my space and it's fine. It's fine.
Oh yes. In building, I spent a good amount of time in building wealth building seminars, and I'm no longer doing that. And I'm, pulling up my slides just to be ready for today has kind of re-inspired me. I'm like, oh my God, that is so good. Oh my God, that is so good. Oh my God, that is so good. However, it is hard to enroll people. Like, people are banging down my door. Renee, when's the next seminar? When's the next wealth building seminar? And then I set a date. And then I call them all, oh, this, oh, that, oh, this. And that's why I stopped doing it. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done pulling teeth and getting you to do what you tell me that you want to do. But it's the number one taboo. It's the thing that you don't talk about. It's the most uncomfortable thing to talk about. And that's never going to go away. However, the more educated people get, see, people that have money love to talk about money. People that build wealth love to talk about building wealth. I could talk about it all day long, and it's so fun, and it's a game. But the key is that you're introducing people to the game, and the more that they get educated, little by little by little, because that's the biggest obstacle, is who am I to build wealth? I'm not smart enough. I'm not this enough. It's for those people over there, right? So that's why it's the most important thing is your financial beliefs. They're running the show, which is why most people never get in the game, because they never get past their financial beliefs. And so if there's a way that you can support them in getting past their financial beliefs, or being willing to have a conversation with money, or even just doing a little bit of education every single time, where their brain leaves percolating, and the next time they sit down with you, they're like, hey, that last time I really liked that. And then you open the door for a little more. You open the door, or maybe there's a tutorial out there, or a video that's kind of like, wealth building for dummies, that it's like, hey, listen to this, and then let's have a conversation at the end of it, like anything to open the door into the conversation. But also, speaking from a place of, this is not rocket science. The reason why I know it's rocket science is that I was a cocktail waitress, and I've built wealth. And if I can build wealth, then anybody can build wealth. But having conversations that whoever is in front of you, you are enough to do it. And that you don't have to be an expert on any of it. You just have to be educated. And I am your resource of how to get educated. And we can do it a little bit at a time. However, would you like to be an empowered woman regarding wealth building? Because I can help you with that. And who's not going to say yes to that?
Renee, and I think it also goes back to you talking about our relationship with money, similar to our relationship with people. People have experienced dysfunctional relationships that hurt, that hit rock bottom. People have been broke, torn up. There have been, life changes where people experience this financial piece as a trauma. So part of working with our community is helping them heal that relationship with money, and coming to this point of realization of, it can be a loving partnership where you have that relationship with money, because it's a currency that currently runs our world. And so I think as educators, we bring that gift to people. Some people may not be ready for it. So to answer your question, Deanne, too, is like, do you get pushback? I'd be a little bit concerned if you didn't, because that's people attempting to establish rapport and knowing if they can trust you. So to the point of what Renee was saying, creating that relationship to make sure that you can connect with people and meeting them where they are at. So, I know that we're running out of time, but before we run out of time, I want to invite every single one of you guys, everybody that's here and everybody that's watching this video, once it's recorded and placed out there. This seminar has been absolutely life-changing for me and my family, and I will forever be grateful of what I've been able to create because of what I was able to do with my life after I took the basic seminar. And Cheryl mentioned it a little bit, and Renee mentioned it a little bit. I want to mention it a lot. I want to personally invite anybody in Females in Finance, or anybody in your family, to attend this seminar. We're going to have one June 3rd through the 5th in Houston, Texas. And then we're also going to have one in Denver, June 24th through the 26th. So if you guys are interested in coming and sitting with us and going through some of these tools, I will take a stand and support you guys to make sure that you guys can get some of these tools and know how we've created a difference in teaching people how to say no. And that's no as in I'm not interested, or that's not in my best interest, NO, or KNOW. I need to know more about what's happening, because we all get to that crossroad. And I do believe that the basic seminar provides us with the tool set that in our industry, we're able to connect with people at a different level. And who wouldn't want to have Renee and Cheryl in your back pocket to be mentors and to support you in growing not only your business, your relationship with money, yet your relationship with yourself. I know that I benefit from being a better friend to myself. Self-care is at the top of my list. And, before it would hurt to even spit those words out, I'm like, oh, let's go. Like, it's me and then everybody else. That was
I
such
put the
a foreign
registration
concept.
info in the chat, Paula.
Perfect. So the registration is going to be in the chat. If you guys want to save that, we can also, Cheryl's okay. We'll post it in
Yeah, that's fine.
Females in Finance and on Facebook. But if you guys want to know more about the seminar, this is a glimpse of what could happen when you apply the skills that you learn at the seminar. So I'm super excited you guys were here, but
And you
okay,
get to go back, if like not just once.
Yeah, you get
You
to go
can-
back, re-audit the class for free for the rest
free.
of your life in any city that it's offered. So the full tuition is $795. The code that I put in the chat gets you a $200 discount. You can attend the basic seminar anywhere you want. We do it all over the country, and your tuition is good for a year, but it's also a great place. The woman that asked the question about her client is gone, but I mean, if you want to up your clients' self-esteem and belief so they're easier to work with, it's also a great place to send your clients.
Yeah, this has been life-changing for me, honestly. And it not in the money part was the byproduct part of things. For me,
Yeah.
it was dealing with things that I didn't realize was holding me back, so
I have to go to another call, but I just
Yep.
wanted to say it was so nice spending this hour with all of you. And I hope it was valuable, and that I hope your brain continues to percolate. And thank you so much for allowing me to be here.
No problem. And we'll have the replay on this, but I was happy to see everybody here. Thanks so much, friends. Take care of yourself.
Bye.
Bye.